Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a woodworker running a small business out of an even smaller workshop. Today I thought I'd take you along and show you how I fit a bunch of tools in a pretty small space. I fit a 52-inch table saw, 8-inch joiner, I have a planer, automated dust collection, kind of the whole works, and I fit it all into 280 odd square feet. Watch along to see how I do it and how I run a production business out of this small space. Okay, so like most shops, I find the table saw here is kind of the heart of mine. I had initially ordered a 36-inch table saw, but ended up getting a 52-inch through some mistake. Thought I was going to return it, decided to keep it, and I have to say I'm super happy with it. In a small shop, any kind of horizontal surface gets used a lot for storing things, for building things. I cover it when I need to paint or spray. I cover it when I need to glue stuff up, and it's been amazing. Obviously, saw stop is saw stop, costs a lot of money, but the safety factor is worth it for me. I absolutely love it. It works great. I plan on building a underarm kind of storage cabinet here, but right now I just use this old toolbox I have. I keep my Miter Express just tucked in here, and keep my dado stack in there. In the drawers, I have some spare parts for the Miter Express and my dado insert. Just kind of spare table saw parts. And here's a bunch of tools just for adjusting all the tools I have in the saw. And yeah, I keep my push blocks here and my feather board and whatnot, just kind of table saw accessories that I can't fit anywhere up on the side here, and that seems to work pretty good. They're generally out of the way. I don't really have a good spot for my guard. Normally I leave it on the saw, just tuck it out of the way when I need to make a different kind of cut that I can't use it. I bought one of these cheaper kind of wood racks, which I store some of my wood. Usually it's just wood that's working for a project or some offcuts. Right now it's just a bunch of offcuts. I try not to keep a whole lot of wood in here just because I don't have space, but this works well. I've really overloaded it and seems to hold fine. Also has some 6-foot clamps up here. They're just cheap aluminum bar clamps, but they do the trick for longer glue ups. I'll show you in a minute. I hide my Festool dust extractor underneath the wing of my table saw on kind of the back of my assembly table and run the hose up. I have a 36mm hose that runs up to the end of this Lincoln Street style boom arm. You might notice the triangle is installed upside down, but we're not going to mention that. And then yeah, I have the normal Festool 26mm, I think, and plug it cord just hanging here. Can reach everywhere in my shop. It works fantastic. It's just great. I love it. It keeps the hose out of the way and keeps me from stepping on things. Here's a clamp rack I put together. These individual pieces I bought from Lee Valley. They're made from Baltic birch. They sell them for, I think, 30 bucks. They're great. They come with all the hardware and everything. I just have them mounted to a piece of 1/2-inch plywood, and yeah, that's it. I have some Bessie parallel clamps, some Jorgensen, I think these are F-body clamps, and then my kind of miscellaneous quick grip clamps, my Festool track saw clamps there, and I have one of these wooden screw clamps up here. Also have just some miscellaneous stuff, some cauls for glue ups, a tap and die set, some bags for the dust collector that I don't need, and I have this air quality meter which shows PM 2.5, PM 10. I have it running all the time. I have it set up so that it automatically, using HomeKit, turns on my air purifier cleaner here. This is from KMS. It's a Canadian tool supply store. It's their Magnum line. It does have a HEPA filter in it. It seems to work pretty good. Some of the times I find that it will blow dust kind of out, but generally speaking, I think it does a really good job. I vacuum off the filter all the time, and it does seem to help. I can literally watch the air quality get better on the meter. It's something I take pretty seriously. Obviously, small space. I always wear a respirator whenever I'm working, but yeah, helps to keep the air clean. I have a Rikon 14-inch bandsaw. I picked this up off Marketplace. It was basically brand new. I got it from a guy who's a professional finisher. He does a bunch of wood turns bowls. He had bought this to cut up some wood, but found he could just do well enough with a chainsaw. So he had only used it a few times when I got it. It was nearly brand new. It was a heck of an operation to get it out of his shop, but yeah, got it done. Use it fairly frequently. Works pretty awesome. I picked up a Rikon drill press. I think it's a 12-inch model. I struggled a bit with what to get here because I used some bigger Forstner bits, and all of the cheaper ones like the Wen and that are considerably cheaper and smaller would have been nice for this shop, but I wanted something that could really slow down. I think this will go down to 200 RPM. When you turn it on. Yeah, so it shows you RPM. So I have it at 230 RPM most of the time when drilling with big Forstner bits. It has a light and a laser, which I never use. Yeah, above that I have my space heater. It's a 5,000 watt space heater. It'll warm the shop up from 5 degrees or so in the winter, which is the lowest I keep it, to 15 degrees, which is a really comfortable working temperature in about 20 minutes. So it works really well. Inside the drawers under the drill press here, this is a Craig stand that I just built some drawers with some scrap plywood I had. Try to keep all of my drilling accessories. I bought a big set of Brad Point bits from Lee Valley, and I gotta say, having the right drill bit is awesome. My wife got me a set of Forstner bits for Christmas, and then yeah, I just have some miscellaneous bits and whatnot in there. In the bottom drawer here, I have some additional bits. I have a tenon cutter I used for a stool I built a while ago, and then I just keep my router bits in here. So for a dust collector, I looked at a whole bunch of different options. I'm planning a video in the future when I go into this in detail, but I ended up buying a Magnum 2 horsepower, 220, 210 volt, whatever, in town here. It's very similar to the Harbor Freight, except I think the Harbor Freight unit's 110 volts. I'm not exactly sure. We don't have Harbor Freight in Canada, so this is the best I could find. I bought the kind of bigger Oneida Dust Cyclone and their bin. I think it's a 15-gallon bin. It works pretty well. It fills up, you know, fairly frequently if I'm planing, but during just general work, it's not too bad. One of the big things for me was this HEPA filter. It added a lot of cost to the overall solution, but I'm, like I mentioned before, pretty worried about the air quality in here, given how small it is and how much dust these tools can produce. So yeah, went with a HEPA filter. This thing did come cart mounted. I kind of had to tweak it a bit and mount it on the wall. I picked up the Oneida Dust Sentry as well. I mixed reviews on it, but it's been flawless for me with no visibility into the bin. It really does help to know when your bin is full. When the light comes on, I know I can finish cutting the piece or planing the piece or jointing the piece I'm working on, and then I'm done, and it works perfectly. I plumbed the whole shop with 4-inch PVC. I had looked into some other options, but it was just really expensive. I also used IVAC blast gates and tool sensors on all of my tools. And having it fully automated makes a huge difference just in efficiency and being able to flip a tool on, move between tools. Really happy with the solution. I have had a couple of problems that I'll get into in a different video where multiple blast gates will open at the same time, but generally I've been able to work through that and it works pretty well. The first project I built for my shop was actually this miter station. I started with some IKEA upper cabinets, and then I built lower cabinets for myself and added this bamboo butcher block. It's been great. I love the space. I love all the storage. It really helps with a small space to be able to put everything away. Going through the drawers here, this first one is some just automotive stuff that I couldn't find a spot for. I have some tongue depressors and some little cups for mixing epoxy or paint or whatever, some brushes. Then down in this drawer here, I store my paint sprayer and accessories. I also have my sharpening stuff kind of tucked away here just because I didn't know where else to put it. Here I have a bunch of Milwaukee pack-out containers with extra fasteners and electrical bits and, you know, just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Moving over to the drawers, in the top drawer here, I keep my 2 smaller planes. I keep my chisels, some hand saws, some electrical tools, sharpening stuff. Second drawer here is sandpaper. I had big aspirations to build this with dividers and stuff. I have a 5-inch and a 6-inch sander. I don't think it'll fit in here. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do, but right now I keep all my 5-inch sandpaper in here. Some more miscellaneous stuff, glue gun, some zip ties, a tripod head for some reason, my knot woodpeckers, corner clamps. And down here I have just a whole bunch of random Milwaukee tools, this little detail sander that I hate, skill saw that I use sometimes, jigsaw, which is fairly frequently used. These are kind of a pain to get to if I need anything other than the jigsaw, but it's rare that I use these other tools. I've kind of had them for a while now. On top of this side of the miter station, I keep glue and epoxy. I have some audio stuff for recording, gloves, some hand planes I'm borrowing from my father-in-law, which are awesome, and I think I probably need to add to my collection. Bought this Woodpeckers double track, T-track stuff with a miter slot. I like these little Woodpeckers flip stops. They work good. I bought I think it's a Starrett tape measure that sticks on. I bought this Bosch miter saw that goes flush up against the wall. It works pretty good. Dust collection is horrible, as everybody mentions, but it really works good. Underneath, I just have a shop vac connected with a Bosch hose and a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket I use for garbage. I have this wired up with one of those IVAC switches for the vacuum, so the saw turns the vacuum on automatically. Works great. Up here on the side, I have a couple of chargers, an Ego charger for my leaf blower and yard tools, and then solitary Milwaukee charger. Seems to work pretty good. A horseshoe, my wife always gives me trouble for putting it upside down. Apparently the luck falls out. This is probably my most used drawer. It's got pencils, markers, all my measuring tools, knife. I use something from this drawer in every project. It's definitely my most frequently opened drawer in the shop. Next up here, we have a new addition, just a fastener drawer. I bought these fastener bins from Amazon and try to keep my most used fasteners in here. It's a bit of a pain in the butt to dig out those pack outs, so anything I need, I just put in here. Here's my mechanics tools. They're just a bunch of sockets, mostly not woodworking related, but they're in here because I have to go somewhere. And this is the drawer of doom. It's really hard to know what all is in here. Some extra fasteners, some extra slides, those fancy band clamps I spent 10 bucks on. Manual for the table saw. This is the drawer we don't really talk about too much. I set up pegboard above the workbench on the miter station. Tools that I want quick access to just end up going up here. Drills and drivers, my respirator, some nailers. Yeah, just kind of general quick access tools and things that didn't really fit into the drawer. In these IKEA cabinets above here, I have some silicone and glue up there, some shop towels, apparently some chain cleaner for my bike. In this side, it's just a bunch more stuff, respirator cartridges, some clipboards I thought I was going to use, but I haven't. This side is all finishing stuff. It's tape above. It's a bit of a nightmare as well. I definitely need to reorganize this. And this side is more bike and automotive stuff, not really woodworking related at all. Up here, I don't have a door on this cabinet, but this is where I keep my track saw, some extra old sandpaper. In those black bins, there's some domino tenons, a 6-inch sandpaper, which I don't really have anywhere else for, and then I keep some batteries up there, which are just easy to get to. I just bought this paper towel dispenser off Amazon. I wasn't sure. I just wanted the paper towels off the workbench. It works fine. Probably put something better than a half-empty thing of hand cleaner on the top. Next up, we have kind of the big thing in the shop, which is my outfeed table that I built a couple months ago, I think. I moved my router table into it. It works awesome. It's got a lot of use already. It's kind of mucked up. I used Formica for the top. Glue doesn't stick, but it definitely does get scratched up. But yeah, works really well. It's nice to have a big work surface to work on. Down here I keep some Festool sustainers. I have my couple of sanders. This is the floor cleaning attachments, which came with my CT26, which I bought off Kijiji or Marketplace or something, and my Domino 500. I have the fence for my router table down here, a Veritas straight edge I use. This bin has a bunch of router parts, my trim routers in here, miscellaneous router stuff. And then some wood scraps over there. Underneath, down on the bottom, I have some big sawhorses and then just some excess vacuum hoses and dust collector hoses. I use a SawStop dust box for my router. I just have a Bosch, I think 2.25 horsepower router in there. Works really well. And I have a couple more pack outs down there that have just bike tools and bike parts. I haven't found a good spot to put this oscillating spinner sandal. I don't use it a ton. When I do, it's great. I just keep it on the floor next to my workbench. I have a bunch more bigger pieces of scrap wood, and then over behind the jointer is kind of my sheet goods storage. Gets messy, but I pull it out and clean it out every once in a while. I don't use a ton of sheet goods. When I do, I end up with offcuts and I don't want to throw them out, so that's where they go. I have this slat wall here, which has a bunch of miscellaneous tools, yard tools, apparently a tile cutter, some extension cords. There's a lot of stuff here that needs to find a better home. On our short list of things to do is to build a big shed to just put everything that's not woodworking related into bikes and yard tools and whatnot. But for now, make it work. I picked up the 8-inch Craftex helical head jointer off Marketplace. It's been a dream. I really like it. I've mentioned in my last couple of videos how nice it is to use, how fast it is. It needed a bit of tune-up. I filmed that. I'm going to share that in another video, just how I kind of got it all dialed in. It was used. The guy had said it had only been used a couple times. The cutters looked perfect, but yeah, it was pretty badly out of alignment and the motor belt was loose and made a heck of a racket when I first fired it up. I haven't run a plug yet for this, so what I have to do is I use this extension cord here with a 220 end on it, and I just swap between the table saw and the jointer when I need to use it. It's not ideal, but before I run conduit all over the place, I want to make sure that this is where it's going to live, and yeah, I'll run power to it at some point. The two tools I don't have hardwired into dust collection are the jointer and the planer. I just ran this line out here. There's no good way to get a hardwired PVC line to where I am, so I have 10 or 15 feet of flex hose. I just end up taking it, moving it over, and plugging it in for the jointer here. I bought these cheaper magnetic quick releases, plug it in there. When I need to use the planer, plug it in here, and that's it. Speaking of the planer, I just use this DeWalt 13-inch lunchbox planer. Works fantastic. I had some problems with snipe, but I spent a bunch of time, got it dialed in, and I get zero snipe from it now. I don't know how. I don't want to look at it. The planer gods have spoken to me and everything is good. The concern I have with it is the noise. I'm debating a helical head. Cut quality I get, except on like figured maple, is really good. I don't have problems with tear out or lines. The blades stay sharp. Like I don't have a single complaint about this except for the noise. I don't know if adding a helical head will make it much better. I kind of hear mixed reviews on that when I watch videos. When people measure with a decimal meter, it doesn't seem to get any quieter, but the perceived quietness seems better. I don't know. But yeah, I just use this for now. If something's big, I can wheel it out of the way. It's on the DeWalt mobile cart. It works great. I made a video about this a while ago, but I have this Wixie digital gauge that helps with kind of repeatability on the planer. It works really good. It seems to reset itself a lot. I don't know if it's just me or if the batteries or what, but yeah. I wouldn't say I'd rely on it for cuts days and days apart, but yeah, for repeatability for a couple of cuts back to back, it works really well. I have my CT26, my Festool dust extractor that's just kind of tucked back here. It works really well. I only have to ever take it out when the bag fills up, which isn't too often unless I'm making a huge mess. You can see a bit of the wiring mess back there and the kind of dust ports that I have, but yeah, everything's kind of tucked out of the way and works really well. And there you have it. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me walking through my small space. Appreciate letting me know in the comments any suggestions you have on how to be a little bit more efficient as I bring tools in, take tools out. Things are always changing. But yeah, please, like I said, let me know in the comments what you think. I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe if you got some value out of this. And yeah, stay tuned. I have some pretty exciting projects coming up that are going to be a real challenge to deliver in this small space. Thanks again and have a great day.